I didn't wear glasses up until about 5 years ago.
It's been more than 70 years since the first ever climb to the summit of Mount Everest, and thrill seekers around the world continue to marvel at the achievement. Sir Edmund Hillary was the first to do it. Today, we're joined by his son, Peter Hillary, who is following in his father's footsteps and is an accomplished adventurer himself here in San Diego. Thank you for joining us.
Great to be here.
So your father did it 70 years ago, more than 70 years ago. You celebrated the 50th anniversary climbing Everest yourself, one of 5 times you've climbed that summit. What was that like, celebrating the 50th anniversary that way?
Well, it was an amazing connection with my father. I guess, you know, you hear all the stories of what it was like for him, but to actually be up there yourself, it all made sense again. It was a real connection between father and son.
And it was a multi-generational thing, not just for you, but for, you had compatriots on that trip who were also on those trips with your father, or at least one, the Sherpa's son, Sherpa for your father.
Jumling Tenzing, who I still have a lot to do with, and he was on the expedition as well, and he's climbed Everest. So.
What is it like to stand at the top of the world? How do you even describe that to people?
Well, it's an absolutely extraordinary experience because, look, you've put 2 months of your life into trying to get there. It's not just the case of a weekend jaunt and suddenly you're up there. You've put a lot of time in there acclimatizing, and suddenly you're there. And the somewhat deflating aspect of this is that your immediate thought is, I need to get down off this thing and survive the experience. But look, it's an incredible outlook. It's like looking out the window of an airliner, except you've got your crampon boots on the ground.
Amazing. And you're not a one-trick pony. You've done what are called the 7 summits, correct? What is that? The
7 summits is the highest mountain on each continent, so Antarctica, North America, you know, and Asia, of course, Mount Everest. So it's involved in getting me to over 50 mountaineering expeditions around the world.
And mountaineering adventure, it's evolved with technology, with experience, learning from others. Your father was a trailblazer, but many people have mounted Everest at this point. How has the nature of adventure changed in your mind? Is it still man conquering nature?
No, I think it's really moved on. I think really it's men and women going into nature, learning about themselves. And you know, every single person who goes to climb Everest or any mountain, Denali in Alaska, they are deeply affected by it. They are changed people. It becomes an important part of who they are. And so really, it's very valid. You know, we need to encourage young people in particular to go out to the Sierras or wherever, have an adventure, challenge yourself, and learn about yourself.
Is that what inspired you to become a philanthropist, that connection with nature?
Well, look, I think it really started with my father. I mean, he was going on all these expeditions, and he was up there in the Himalayas, and sitting around the fire, he asked some of his Sherpa friends near the foot of Mount Everest, you know, what would they like? And they said, we want a school for our children. And one thing led to another. He ended up building 42 schools and hospitals.
42 schools and hospitals, and that's at the base of the Himalayas. That is amazing stuff. Your work in this field, how does it continue now? Is it still with the schools, or has it grown into other aspects?
Well, it's grown into a lot of different aspects. I'm now the chairperson of the Himalayan Trust. I'm on the board of the American Himalayan Foundation in San Francisco. And we have projects particularly around the Mount Everest area, but right across the Himalayas. And look, I just love it. My son, my youngest son, is the general manager of the Himalayan Trust. It's really quite a family affair. We're involved with education programs in over 100 schools in the Mount Everest area, hospitals, environmental programs. But it's about trust. It's about people knowing each other, trusting each other, and listening to what they want.
You just got off a plane yesterday, I believe, 12-hour flight from New Zealand all the way here. You're here for a reason. You have a talk tomorrow at the Conrad Prebys Performance Arts Theater in La Jolla. What's that going to be like for people? We only have a little time left. I want to give them a little glimpse.
Well, I mean, I'm going to obviously be talking about the 70 years of Everest, how you know, 70 years ago, my father made the first ascent with Tenzing Norgay, and now here we are, all those different ascents later, the development of the work with local people, the schools and hospitals, and I guess where adventure has taken me a little bit too. So I've got lots of videos and stills and stories to share.
And that's tomorrow night. Thank you so much for your time, Peter Hillary, son of Sir Edmund Hillary, but quite the adventure yourself. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.